continue, you already talked a bit about the membership model of Beauty Pie, and that's what Beauty Pie makes it stand out. But can you further elaborate a bit on this and maybe explain what makes the membership model unique compared to others?
Yes, of course, absolutely. So our differentiator is really our membership model. However, we fully appreciate that it might be a little complicated to understand. And actually, we have received this feedback a few times and are trying to simplify it as much as possible for everyone that is new to Beauty Pie. But it is a big USP, and it's in fact, as I was saying before, a membership rather than a subscription. Another big factor for us is that we are direct to consumer and digital only, and a little bit of a combination of the membership model, direct to consumer and digital has proven to be extremely powerful for us, especially during this pandemic. So as someone new who joins Beauty Pie, you would go on the website and you can pick a membership. And depending on the level you contribute, you can access a corresponding amount of products every month, or to be honest, whenever you want to, because all monthly allocations can be rolled over. So you can choose when to spend them. You don't have to feel forced to spend all of them every month. We are also well aware of the barriers to entry in the luxury beauty industry. And for this reason, you don't necessarily have to be a member to shop with us. You can still shop as a non-member, but you will be paying typical prices. Those typical prices are calculated based on a benchmarking exercise, looking at what other players in the industry use as prices. So you would pay for our products at typical prices, and you will not be able to take advantage of our members' prices. It's really this membership model that has allowed us to build such a strong online community of beauty and now health lovers. Not only we are transparent when it comes to information about our products and ingredients and what goes in them, but we also operate with the transparency principle in every aspect of our business, including when it comes to pricing. So while we are very aware that you go on the website, and as you can see on the slide, you will see two different prices. You would normally see the member prices and the typical price. And we have a page also on the website that really explains the difference between both, so that our members or broader consumers can always understand how we tend to allocate certain prices for certain products.
Right, so there's a lot of transparency, but I'm still wondering, you already mentioned that you're online only. How does that really work in the beauty industry? Because we know that testers in physical stores are quite popular. And we've seen that Beauty Pie actually also opened a pop-up shop at Harvey Nichols. Is this something that we might see more of in the future, or would you say that the future is solely online?
That's another very good question. So as you say, testers are something that actually we are not able to do because of our business model. And we also we have taken the decision not to provide the testers because of sustainability reasons. So imagine yourself having to build a brand in a very crowded market where customer loyalty is so strong and higher than ever, and not actually being able to have customers to trial and test your product. So it is a challenge for sure. However, we really much took this challenge as an opportunity. And when we are launching something new, we always take into consideration our members' feedback. This really can be seen as our trial and test and learning approach. So if a product is not popular, we will stop production. And again, because our community is so vocal, they really have no problem in telling us when something doesn't work. So we are really open into getting that feedback. Now you also mentioned our vehicles, and that was it's a funny story, because for the first time that finally we were going to launch something physical, where really someone that wanted to learn more about Beauty Pie could finally go and look at the packaging, try the product, COVID hit. So this, we couldn't plan it for sure. So this partnership actually could only stay alive for a few days only. However, those few days, it has been incredibly successful. For the first time, really, our biggest fans could come and touch our products. And this is obviously a key experience in luxury and cosmetics even more, and feel them and understand the ingredients. We are definitely considering opportunities like this one for the future, when teams come down, certainly, because it has been a big success. However, I would also point out that we shouldn't underestimate the power of digital, and actually how much testing can be done with technology. So it's not only just about a physical presence, is as a company how you can adapt to the new technological trends and try to offer something to your consumers through that.
Right. You already said that there's much potential in the technology, and that's also something that I want to go a bit deeper in. So we've seen that as online becomes much more important, beauty brands such as L'Oreal are introducing apps to try out products virtually. So for example, you can scan a dress and then you find the perfect lipstick for it. Is that something that Beauty Pie is also considering to launch, or maybe already working on? And then maybe like what other tech features do you offer or plan to offer?
Yes, so definitely something that we're looking into all the time, and every team, not just our product development team. Tech is very much at the heart of everything that we're doing, and very much at the heart of our business model, and it really powers our platform. So we really want to start talking, and this is one of the big priorities as we grow. Start talking about ourselves as a tech company. This is because in addition to operating digitally only, we are thinking about different activities to engage with our members and prospect members online. This is a very big, as I mentioned, a very big priority for us this year. We are, for example, relaunching our website. So we are investigating opportunities to implement on top of that and as part of that. We are very much focused on hiring a tech team, and the recruitment process has already started. This is another big priority for us this year. So I think by doing those steps, small steps, one after the other, we'll be able to certainly do much more in the future. But we fully appreciate that this is a trend that exists, that's going to be much more prominent as we progress. So very much on top of our radar.
Cool. So do you think there will be like an app in the future, like something like that?
Potentially. I'm not too sure how much our tech team believes in the use of an app. We feel that there are other ways to engage with the members and the prospect, but potentially that could definitely be something that we do. Anything that can enhance the customer experience, but without complicating it, because that's when then the technology becomes useless.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, we can't go without mentioning the pandemic tonight, and we've seen that with people being forced to stay at home, the beauty industry did face really strong impacts, and we saw changes and category shifts occurring. How did the pandemic impact Beauty Pie, and what does Beauty Pie learn or maybe take away from the pandemic?
The big elephant in the room that that we can't ignore, unfortunately, that we all thought was going to end, but still there and surviving. Yes, so COVID has certainly had an impact on us, but more of a positive one, to be honest, rather than negative, which is very, very surprising. And I'm sure you have read plenty of stories of unfortunate stories of companies that haven't made it through. But our business model was actually built to face something like the pandemic, and it has proven to be extremely resilient. The problem for us was actually the inverse, and it was to keep up with the increasing demands and the new members that had joined during this time. Then, of course, our suppliers, given that they are based everywhere in the world, have been impacted in different ways, which ultimately has had an impact on us as well, especially when it comes to delivery, out of stock situations. But something that I feel we have done quite well is that we have remained, again, fully transparent. So every time that there was an issue, we would try to acknowledge it very early on, so that people could understand. And of course, this was a global situation, so everyone was understanding that there could have been issues. We, of course, while we didn't change our business model, we, of course, adapted our marketing strategies, for example. Our founder has been excellent because she really understood that in times like these, people really want to feel human and they still want to feel great. And actually anything that helps with that is excellent. And so for us, allowing our members to still feel human and to still feel that they could be happy was a very important thing. And we very much understood the impact on financial situation and how the pandemic could have impacted everyone's situations. So we actually presented our members with a few offers so that they could still receive their monthly dose of happiness through our pink boxes. So very much put the consumer at the center of everything and really much try to understand that it was a difficult situation, not just from a business perspective, but from the consumer side as well. Our founder, again, she has stayed very close to this, very close to our consumers, especially on social media. We started online consultations so that people can come in, book a session, and we have an expert that they can talk with and understand their skin type and which products they should be using. And again, this really allowed us to build that connection. And our members were very happy, extremely happy about this.
Wow, that sounds really interesting and really great. You already mentioned the founder of the company, Marcia Kilgore, and that she's a really successful entrepreneur with companies such as Soap and Glory, which we probably all know. And now Beauty Pie is her 5th company. So you already said that she's great and she plays a really important role, but maybe you can tell us a bit more about her and her role in the business, and yeah, just about her.
Yeah, of course. So she's amazing, and I don't think this is even the right word to describe her. She's really a force of nature. She's integral to every aspect of the company, every single aspect of the company. It was actually very shocking when I joined. First time for me to work in a founder-led company. And she is the brand. She she breathes the brand, she lives the brand at all times. So that's excellent. It's really amazing to work so closely with her and to hear her story all the time. I'm quite lucky in my position. I get to sit in all the interviews that I organize for her, and every time, no matter if the focus is always the same and it's about building the profile of the company, I learn something new. I learn something new about her. I learn something new about business. So it's absolutely motivating to be working with her. Her story is great. Her personal story is touching. Her professional stories are extremely motivating. Yeah, she's just so inspiring. So I feel very, very lucky to be working with such a powerful and ambitious woman. As I stated before, she really puts the customer at the center of every decision, every strategic decision that the business takes. And this goes from the launch of new products to actually the copy that is written from emails or social channels. It's really much always the customer at the center of everything. And Marcia is excellent at doing that. Obviously, she has been in the industry since 25 years now, if not more. So she knows her audience very, very well, and she managed to build a very long-lasting relationships. Beauty Pie, though, it's slightly different than the other companies that she has built, and it's a company that is growing tremendously. We just announced, for example, a strategic strengthening of our executive team. So we just hired a new chief marketing officer, a new chief operations officer, and a new chief financial officer. So the team is really taking a very structured turn. However, regardless, Marcia is really present in any element of the business, and believe it or not, she writes all the copy that goes externally. It's something that she loves doing, but this is just an example to tell you and to show you how much she is integral to everything that we do.
Wow, amazing! I think she's probably been a really big part of that growth and that success the company has. But I mean, the company is still really young and was able to grow exponentially in the last 4 years. And maybe what's the strategy behind it, or how do you ensure that you will have further growth in the upcoming years?
Yes, so it's actually funny that you mentioned this, because we have our company quarterly meeting on Friday, and the theme of the meeting will be scaling up. So for the first time, we are going to start talking about this internally. I only joined in September, but since then the business has changed already so much. It changes every day. We are very much focused on hiring and really focused on finding the best talent out there. Very much focused on the US market, very big priority for us this year. And we have this sort of culture where we believe that in order to grow and to fulfill what our members really want, we need to test and learn. And we actually have the opportunity to do that quite a bit. And we are extremely open when it comes to this concept in different areas of the business, from our products to our membership model to our prices to our website. So really testing and learning to see what works best. So we're trying, yes, different activities, and we are going to see how the customer reacts to that. We have a very dynamic team that makes those things very easy to implement, and in a very fast way as well. So we can launch something new, evaluate it, and then take a decision as to the next steps. And we also think a lot about this idea of the 1% constant improvement. So every day being 1% better than you were yesterday. So very much small improvements, but constant. we have just launched a new product category, the one of supplements. That was obviously a very strategic decision. We are looking at other categories for the future. We don't just want to stop at these. So that will be a way for us to grow as well.
Great. Maybe staying with the category of supplements. How do you usually identify trends or product gaps? You already talked about co-creation and including the customer in every step, but how do you ensure that the customer is really included in all of the steps?
Yes. So Beauty Pie started with cosmetics. That was the first thing that was launched. And then the idea of providing the consumer with all the makeup that she wanted without the markup, that has been very much the punchline. And then 6 months later, after that, they had added high performance skincare. And since then, we have added body care, nail care, hair care, accessories, fragrance, home fragrance, and candles as well. We just actually also launched a diffuser this year for Christmas, which was very, very popular. So for us, the next and obvious place to go was the health category. And turns out we did it at the perfect time, because there isn't a better time than launching something like that than now, when your inner health is more important than ever, and actually when your feeling beautiful starts from within rather than from the outside. So that was the perfect moment to launch supplements. However, it's not that we understood that there was a pandemic and we decided reactively to launch them. Even though the timing was perfectly coordinated, we work 18 months in advance. So now we're already looking at 2022, if not further. So we tend to work a lot in advance and plan in advance. Our new product development team does that. So it was already a few years ago that they thought that health and the launch into supplements was going to be something useful for us. Supplements, because they weren't directly our area of expertise, were launched with a nutritional expert. Her name is Kay Ali. She's a nutritionist. And she very much is the creative source and the brain behind this category, which is solely sold through Beauty Pie. As with any business, the retention of our customers tells us how we are doing in meeting their needs. And we've seen that our retention levels increase the more we launch new and relevant products, which sounds very, very obvious, but it's really something that we take into consideration. So yes, of course, we'll be looking into different categories that make our offer more rounded and our service more convenient for our customers. But again, really much with the idea of having her or him and everybody at the center of everything that we do.
Great. I think you gave us a great overview of the company so far. So I would like to dig a bit deeper into your role and how it's like to work at Beauty Pie. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about what it's like, what your typical day looks like as a head of communications, and maybe your journey to Beauty Pie. So how did you get there?
Yes, I always laugh when someone asks me this question, because the typical answer would be, I've always wanted to work in the beauty industry, big target for me. Not at all, to be honest. It was absolutely unexpected. It was an industry that I wasn't really part of. I didn't even have a skincare routine, and I'm still struggling, I must say. So yes, it was almost a bit by mistake, but the best probably opportunity that has ever come to me. there isn't really such thing as a typical day. It's extremely varied. I'm sort of, I like to describe myself as the mouth, ears, and eyes of the company. So the only really routine task that I tend to do is wake up early in the morning and read all the news. Anything that I can find, I subscribe to all sorts of outlets, from national outlets to more consumery ones, and I'm always reading about what is happening, not only in the industry, but also more broadly as well, because new ideas can actually come most of the times from things that are not happening too close to you. So for me, it's very important that I'm always kept up to date with what is happening, and this has become very much integral to my routine. I do that, and I send to everyone all articles that I find interesting. I bombard everyone with those. The rest of my day really is really varied. So it always includes checking in with different journalists. Obviously, communication with the media is a big part of my role. So through a few email exchanging or calls, I speak with them. There is always a little bit of reactive communications to be drafted, especially as we closely monitor our community and what they say about us. And I think the most fun bit of all of it is that I end up doing or helping on things that are absolutely outside of my remit. So things that I would have never expected to help with, I actually have the opportunity to do that. So I'm overseeing a few projects that don't necessarily always would sit with communications, and these are sustainability, for example. I'm working on a few projects there, diversity and inclusion as well. It's a very big focus for us and for myself. So there is a lot of strategic thinking when it comes to these, and it's the first time that actually Beauty Pie has a head of communications, and that Marcia works with a head of communications. So there is so much opportunity for me to shape it, to shape my role around how I want to shape it, and focus on the areas that I can help the most with.
Great. Maybe about the work environment then. You already said a lot about the culture at Beauty Pie, but maybe what it's like to work for such a fast-growing company, and maybe comparing it to your role before at like an agency. How did that change? Like, how's it like?
Completely different, and I'm on the other side of the coin now, which is always interesting to examine and to understand the different behaviors. It's extremely fast moving. Things are moving so fast all the time, and therefore they need to be actioned very fast as well. There is very little hierarchy, and I believe this is very much the case in other startups as well, compared to a more corporate environment. And I must say that everyone is extremely open to feedback. When something is wrong, we expect to say it straight away. We are very open to mistakes. Our founder and all our exec team actually believes that the bigger the mistake, the more you actually learn from it. So do those mistakes, but be transparent around them. We are game changers, and I can't stress these enough, and therefore we can never afford to be behind the curve. So we really need to act speedy and to be aware of what's happening around us. The teams are extremely dynamic. There is a lot of coordination that is needed at all time between the different teams, especially now as we are exponentially growing. Some people maybe weren't that used of having so many different members in so many different teams. So it takes some time to understand what everyone is doing and what the roles and responsibilities are. clear and transparent communication at all time. Again, this is a very big must. I think not only for Beauty Pie, but generally as well. And given that everything is happening through Zoom now, like for everyone else, there are an incredible amounts of calls that everyone needs to join every day, and decision on those calls are always taken very quickly, and again, people need to act quickly. So I think being dynamic and having this fast-paced mind, it's something that is critical.
Right. And now a question that we're all probably really excited about. So does Beauty Pie offer entry-level positions, and what about internships?
So despite COVID, we have grown our team massively, and really one of the priorities is to keep on growing our talent base. We are always looking for new people. As I mentioned before, right now we're very focused on building our tech team. However, having said that, we're also recruiting in different areas. I know that we have 1 or 2 interns within the company that work in different areas. One is helping with new product development. So there are opportunities, yes. I would suggest that even if it's not for an internship, and if you see a position that could be of interest online or through LinkedIn, to always apply. We don't like to think that just because you are a young graduate, you can't apply to higher position than internships. So do feel free to apply at all times. Our recruitment focus will change from time to time, of course, depending on the need, depending on how the company evolves. But tech for now is what really we are focusing on.
Great. And then even though you didn't plan on working in the beauty industry, do you have any tips for someone to secure a job in the beauty industry?
So from what I can say from experience, the beauty industry is not really different than the luxury, the retail, or the fashion one. Hence why for me it was quite an easy transition, because of the kind of work that I was doing before in the areas and the industries that I was focusing on before. However, I would say that you need to be flexible, and you need to be open-minded. Those are 2 big qualities that will very much play at your favor. In a startup, and as a company grows as well and moves away from the startup phase, you will always end up doing a job that is not part of your job description. Some people love it, some people won't. So you just need to understand that this is very much something that you will face. Then I would also say that you need to be independent at its fullest. I sort of built a position myself, and everyone is so busy at all times to grow the company, so they don't really have time to sit down and train you and go through everything. So you really do need to show that you are ambitious, that you can operate alone, but that you're also not afraid of asking for help. And this is always very much valued. Proactivity, of course, is another big characteristic and quality that comes to mind. When it comes to disruption, so a disruptive company is a company that presents something completely new to the market. You are a first, so you shouldn't be afraid to dare. You have to take risks, you have to do mistakes, and you have to learn from those mistakes. Things might not always work the first time. Most of the times, actually, they don't. But you can't let yourself down for that. You have to try again. And this is very much our culture as well. And then something that I keep on repeating, and I appreciate it might not resonate with everyone, because it really much depends on the experiences that everyone lives, but instincts sometimes are much more important than overthinking or than thoughts more generally. And every time that I did listen to my instincts only, it always led me to make good decisions. So for me, this more hearted part of behavior is key to making choices.
Great, thank you. We're at the end of our conversation now, and before we get into the Q&A, I quickly want to mention and share again the code that we have. So for the free first month subscription, it is valid until Sunday, and you just have to enter FreePie at the checkout. Okay, perfect. So let's go over to the questions. Okay, so we have the first question. So Beauty Pie products are created by over 50 different labs worldwide. How do you ensure that the same quality standard and also the right ingredients, so clean and vegan, to your customers?
Yes, that's a very good question. So we were born very much with sustainability and safety at the heart of our thinking and of our strategies. Marcia has built, because of her experience, tremendous relationships with our suppliers, and this means that we're able to communicate with them at all times and actually go to them and say, this is a product that we have in mind. Don't mind at all the cost, because anyways we would sell it at almost production cost, but create a product that is as efficient as possible. And they do that. They go away and they create a product that is that. Every single lab that we work with follows this. Then, of course, we have a very rigorous quality check, not only when it comes from the supplier side of things, but internally as well at Beauty Pie. We would never launch a product that does not pass that quality check. And every time that we see a customer having an issue because a batch might be faulty, or because she or he is just unlucky that ended up on a faulty product, we always take that into consideration and open a whole sort of investigation, in inverted comma, process to understand what has not worked there. Sustainability, yes, is at the heart of what we're doing. However, so is safety. So while, for example, we really think about sustainability when it comes to our packaging, and we do a multitude of things to make sure that our packaging is as sustainable as possible, we also need to make sure that our packaging protects our products, and that our products, when they get to the hands of our customers, are fully intact and they can be used at their maximum safety. So this is something that is very important for us. We looked at trading standards. We make sure that we are always conforming to those. Every time that a product is vegan or is 9 of our products are tested on animals, and then in addition, when our product is vegan or is part of clean beauty, then we make sure that this is communicated as well to the customer, so that they know exactly what they're buying at all time.
Okay, perfect. Then we have a question from Kim. So would you advise to send a speculative application if no position is advertised yet on the website?
So yes, absolutely. Do reach out. We are, in full honesty, relooking at our careers page as well. So to make sure that the information that is there is always up to date. But do reach out and connect with people on LinkedIn. If there is a certain department that you are interested in, add the relevant person on LinkedIn. Go and look at their profile to understand what their experience is within the industry and within that department. And I always feel that you should reach out no matter what, so that you start being on top of someone's mind and under someone's radar, so that when there is an opportunity, you sort of have already a foot inside. We're very transparent about our application process, so we ask everyone to submit applications through the website. Of course, if there are jobs that are more interesting than others to certain people, I would again strongly suggest that you reach out to the person who's leading the team or is working in that department, and internally then we can always share thoughts about candidates. But absolutely do reach out at all time, no matter what the positions that are there are.
Perfect. And the question from Emma is, are you planning on being available internationally?
Very good question, Emma. Absolutely. We're just not ready yet, in the sense that we want to perfectionize everything that we do in those two very key priority markets for us, which are the UK and the US first, and then once everything is perfectionized here and in the US, we will hopefully be able to expand globally as well. For sure, Europe will be in our list. We get this question a lot from customers. Some love the brand so much that they can't wait to get it in their hands, that they use forwarding parcel services to receive our products. So it's very much front of mind for us to expand internationally, especially as we continue to grow as a company.
Perfect. And then the question from Marine: how do you balance investing in acquiring new customers versus engaging and retaining customers? And how are you organized internally to do both things?
I will try to answer this as much as I can, even though it's not really my area of expertise. For us right now, the priority is to acquire new customers. And this is not because we don't care about the ones we have already, but because the ones we have already do not leave Beauty Pie. We have seen loyalty levels that are incredible. We have had people comment on our loyalty levels and say that they had never seen anything like this. So once we manage to acquire a new customer, for us, it's almost, I don't want to say job done, because of course we always making sure that the needs are respected and that we always fulfill what the wants are. But half of the job is done, because we know that by offering what we are doing, we will retain that customer. So really the priority is making sure that people understand and are educated enough about Beauty Pie to understand the business model, try the products. And I totally appreciate that this is difficult when you are extremely loyal to another brand, you're very loyal to your own skincare routine. It's difficult to leave it and switch it for something that you don't know, something that you can't test. So for us, that's the main priority of acquiring those people, and then once they are with us, we'll do everything possible to keep them, but it's much easier.
Okay, and then we have a question from Dokin. So since Beauty Pie offers a wide range of products, I was wondering, how did the types of products purchased changed as the pandemic progressed, and whether you adjusted your communications and marketing strategies accordingly?
Another very, very good question. We have definitely seen some changes in consumer habits, for sure. Skincare has performed extremely well. The idea that people still love to take care of themselves. There is this myth that people don't purchase lipsticks anymore, which is absolutely untrue. We have seen our lipstick sales bloom during the pandemic, because of course you're doing a Zoom call. So the only thing that probably, like you, Julia, exactly, the only thing that you probably will want to put is a lipstick. So we have seen the makeup category, and especially lipstick, also perform quite well. Nail polishes, homemade manicures, extremely popular with the pandemic. And then things like candles as well, very popular, of course, as people are working from home and are much more at home. When it comes to communications, we didn't really change too much in terms of the strategy. So yes, we remained transparent, no matter if it was a positive or more negative piece of news, but this was very much something that we were doing before or already. Our founder started being much more present on social media through our company Instagram account, for example. She started doing Instagram lives. We started switching to video content much more, and again, trying to involve our members as much as possible in that content creation. So we did understand that there had to be a need to connect on a much deeper level with our customers. And we created the pie polls, which is basically asking people what they would like to see and how they would like our new products to be named. We would do that through Instagram. So really the priority has been or has remained to remain connected with our customers, especially during these difficult times.
Okay, then we have a question from Bastian. Who are your main competitors? Would you consider other startups or big players most? And how does your tech and digital only approach help you to stay ahead of them?
Great. So I sort of want to say that we don't really have direct competitors, because we have a very different offering. Then when you look at the products, of course, it's a crowded market, and there are other companies that are offering luxury products. So those automatically become our competitors. But when it comes to the offering, we are actually the only ones who are doing these within the beauty space. Mm-hmm. When it comes to technology, and sorry, just the last point I would make about competition is that we don't want to consider our competition just being other luxury beauty players. It should be much broader than this. We have this mission to become the Netflix of the beauty industry. So our competitors are not just other luxury beauty brands, but are tech companies as well, tech platforms as well, because this is the direction also where we want to go. Moving into the technology, it is at early stages. So I wouldn't say right now that our tech is our differentiating point. Absolutely not. Big and established giants like L'Oreal are extremely powerful when it comes to the technologies that they use. L'Oreal also has an accelerator program for startups that they have, which is excellent. So innovation has always been very much at the forefront of those big key players. However, we understand that, and we are working towards that as well. We have been extremely innovative when it comes to our business model and business proposition and the way we create and develop products. Now the next step is being it in the customer experience, and we are really brainstorming as a whole company on how we can offer a customer experience that is maximal for people who don't know us, who want to learn about us, who want to try us, but can't physically do so. And so we are looking at the different options at all times to see how this is possible. But again, it's really important that tech doesn't become an obstacle, because ultimately speed and how easy the customer journey is what is really, really important. And we wouldn't want technology to complicate that customer journey.
Okay, so we have our last question now. It's from Clotilde, and it's about COVID. So continuing on COVID-19, as BeautyPie grew exponentially, so did the team, which grew by 100% during COVID. How did Beauty Pie manage scaling their team so quickly while being 100% online? And do you have any advice for graduates that will be faced with the exact similar situation?
Yes, and I'm the pure example of someone who has joined Beauty Pie during COVID, meaning that I really couldn't go to the office. I started working from home in front of a screen. They have been extremely organized in making sure that my corporate company laptop would arrive before I started, and making sure that I had everything that was needed. But it is difficult for sure. It is very, very difficult, especially when you're probably not the only one joining, and it's a full new team that all joins through Zoom. You lose that interaction that you normally would have in person. That tends to be key when it comes to relationship building. They have been quite good, I must say, because they made sure that everyone was involved in the right things. We are very strict about having people on calls when they shouldn't, in the sense that we want everyone to use their times the best way possible. So while we appreciate that, of course, a lot of our days are spent through Zoom, because that's how you understand what's going on around you. You should only join calls that really are adding value and that you can benefit from, and spend the rest of your time concentrating on your work and thinking. We are using HR. I must say, big shout out to them. They have done an excellent job at making sure that anyone was always up to date, and sending little treats when things get tough, to make sure that there is this team building aspect. We did a lot of quizzes. We are very close as a company, so we tend to do big corporate updates every quarterly. We have a all hands company meeting every week, every Monday, where we discuss what's upcoming. For as much as transparent communication is important for us externally, it is internally as well. And so we need to make sure that everyone is looped into what is happening. And part of my role actually is to develop a drumbeat of internal news. So I also deal with internal communications and really making sure that as we scale up, especially, people know what's happening, and people are reassured that yes, we are growing, but we are still very much with our same mission at heart.
Great. So looking at the time, we reached the end of our event now. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight on our interesting talk about disruption in the beauty industry. And I hope you enjoyed our event, and I hope to see you all again soon for our next event. And thank you, Carolina, again for taking the time tonight and giving us such great insights into the industry and into the company. It was a pleasure to have you here tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been my pleasure. And yeah, I'll hope to see a few of you potentially at Beauty Pie one day. Really do feel free to reach out at any time, and good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.